All right, let's jump right in. Picture this. You're working late, you're absolutely crushing your KPIs, you're innovating, and objectively speaking, you are just doing a way better job than the person managing you. You probably think you're on a bullet train to a promotion, right? I mean, we are all taught this deeply held belief from day one that raw competence, hard work, and just being the absolute best in the room will always inevitably lead to success. It's kind of the ultimate myth of the pure meritocracy. But I really want you to think about this. Does outperforming your boss actually guarantee success? Well, the harsh reality is no. Actually, it often does the exact opposite. It makes you a massive threat. Being too good, too visibly, can actually put a giant target on your back and completely stall your career. Now, I know this flies in the face of literally everything we're taught about hard work. But as we're going to see in the source material today, the workplace is not just some spreadsheet of metrics. It's a highly sensitive psychological ecosystem. And when you disrupt that ecosystem by being undeniably superior to the person in charge, the system fights back. So welcome to today's Explainer, where we are cracking open the hidden rulebook and talking about surviving the competence trap. Today we're going to uncover the secret psychological mechanics of workplace hierarchies, look at exactly why excellence is sometimes punished, and, most importantly, figure out how you can navigate these power dynamics without just dumbing yourself down.
Let's start by unpacking this whole concept of the competence trap and why being excellent can actually get you punished.
To really understand this trap, we have to look at Robert Greene's highly influential book, The 48 Laws of Power. Law 1 literally states, never outshine the master. Now sure, the master sounds a bit archaic and intense, but in modern terms, just think of this as your manager, your director, or whoever holds the keys to your next promotion. The core mechanism Greene is getting at here is like even if you are incredibly competent, even if you are totally right, and even if you objectively outperform your superiors, you instantly become a threat if your performance makes them feel inferior.
Because here's the real truth of the matter. Competence itself, totally fine, not dangerous at all. Visible superiority, that is dangerous. Power is psychological long before it's structural, you know? Like an organizational chart tells you who reports to who, but it absolutely does not map out human insecurity. The source material points out that threatening a leader's ego directly threatens their perceived position. If they feel like they're losing that perception of dominance, they will instinctually react to protect it, regardless of how much actual value you're bringing to the company.
Okay, so what's the actual mechanism here? Let's dive into the psychology of ego. The why behind all of this really comes down to three hardwired psychological defenses. First up is the ego protection system. Biologically, humans strongly resist being socially downgraded. To a leader, embarrassment or being shown up isn't just some minor annoyance. Their brain treats it as a literal, dangerous loss of status. Second, we have relative comparison bias. People don't evaluate themselves on some objective scale from 1 to 10. They evaluate themselves relative to you. If you suddenly look like an 11, they feel like they just dropped to a 5. And third is the authority preservation instinct. Leaders unconsciously resist any threats to their dominant signals. It's basically a primal reaction to maintain control of the hierarchy. So the absolutely crucial point to remember is this. People don't punish excellence. They punish status destabilization. Your manager doesn't sit there at their desk thinking, man, I hate that my employee is so good at their job. No, they think, I hate that my employee makes me look unnecessary. Or, I hate that the executives are looking at them instead of me. The higher your performance appears relative to your superior, the more you activate their status insecurity instead of their admiration. You're rocking the boat, and honestly, their immediate instinct is to just throw you overboard to steady it.
This leads us right into a chain reaction that happens when the hierarchy equilibrium gets thrown off balance.
You see, power hierarchies basically operate like a living organism trying to maintain homeostasis. The source material actually maps this out as a literal 6-step domino effect. Step 1, you deliver high performance. Step 2, that generates visibility. Step 3, that visibility forces a direct comparison between you and your boss. Now, step 4 is the pivot point, the ego reaction from your boss. If they feel secure, great, you move to step 5 and get a reward. But if their ego is threatened, you get punished. And finally, step 6, a status adjustment occurs to restore the hierarchy, which usually means you getting sidelined. It is a completely predictable systemic cascade. And here are the specific trigger conditions that pretty much guarantee that cascade ends in punishment. Outperforming your boss in public? Classic mistake. Correcting them openly in a meeting? That is an immediate status threat. making them look incompetent, even accidentally, like by just solving a problem they couldn't figure out, or stealing the attention and credit when higher-ups are watching. When you do these things, you aren't just doing your job well anymore. You are publicly rewriting the power dynamic, and all the observers in the room are watching it happen. Which brings us to the ultimate failure threshold. The source calls this the collapse condition, when a subordinate's visibility literally exceeds a leader's ego tolerance. This is the exact moment the system breaks. It's when your star shines so brightly that it basically blinds your manager's ability to tolerate you. This is exactly when your promotions suddenly, mysteriously, stall out. It's when unexplained resentment builds up, and when you suddenly find yourself excluded from important email chains and decision-making loops. You haven't lost your competence at all, you've just breached their ego tolerance.
Now, you might be thinking this is just a corporate problem, but let's look at some cross-domain danger zones, because this is actually a universal reality. This identical dynamic transfers across entirely different ecosystems. Sure, in corporate environments, overshadowing the manager leads to a blocked promotion. But look at chess. Showing superiority too early causes your opponent to shift into a defensive, highly hostile mode. In incredibly technical fields like cybersecurity, a junior engineer publicly outperforming a senior engineer doesn't always lead to a nice technical reward. It often creates severe organizational friction. In the military, displaying superiority in a way that looks like insubordination risks a total discipline breakdown. Even in social systems like influencer networks, outperforming established figures often triggers a coordinated backlash or suppression. It's literally a universal law of power dynamics. So, how do we survive this? Well, let's talk about the modern correction for all this and how you can actually survive and thrive.
A really common, ruthless critique of Green's first law misinterprets it simply as hide your talent. You see that myth a lot. But hiding your talent stunts innovation. It's terrible for your career. Modern organizational psychology offers a brilliant reality correction, visible competence with hierarchical reassurance. You don't hide your light at all. You just make absolutely sure your light is shining favorably on the person above you. You manage the perception of your competence. So here is your highly actionable playbook to do exactly that. Frame your success not as your isolated individual genius, but as the successful execution of your leader's vision. When you win, highlight the guidance you received from your superior. Present your achievements as a shared team success. Give credit upward strategically. Make your boss look amazing to their boss. And above all, avoid those public dominance displays. Look, you can absolutely be the smartest person in the room. You just can't make your boss feel like the dumbest person in the room. This source material summarizes this modern extension perfectly. The issue isn't outperforming. It's threat signaling without alliance signaling. If you are incredibly competent, you are emitting a strong signal of power. If that power isn't explicitly aligned with your manager, their brain processes it as a threat. But if you signal that your immense competence is firmly an alliance, that you are a weapon in their arsenal, not a weapon pointed directly at them, they will champion you, they'll promote you, and they will bring you right along with them as they rise. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. How will you frame your next big workplace win to signal an alliance rather than a threat? Seriously, the next time you knock a project out of the park, before you take your victory lap, just pause for a second and think about the psychological hierarchy. Manage the perception, reassure the ego above you, and just watch how much faster your career accelerates when you stop accidentally making yourself a target. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this gives you a powerful new lens for your own career strategy.